This broadcast is entirely fictional. All names, characters, locations, and events are products of imagination, created only for storytelling and dramatic effect. Any similarities to real people, places, or situations are purely coincidental. The content is not meant to harm, insult, or single out any person, group, community, or belief. Listener discretion is advised. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is for you. I don't know why it's so satisfying to read where people are watching from at 2:37 a.m., but it is. My name doesn't really matter anymore. Maybe it never did. What matters is that you're hearing this, that something inside the wires still carries a voice through the dark. You're tuned to what's left of the radio, broadcasting from a place that barely stands, in a world that barely moves. I don't know how far this signal reaches. I don't know who's out there. But if you're listening, then we're not completely alone. Not yet. It's 9:42 p.m., I think. My watch is stuck on yesterday's date, but I've been counting the hours by candlelight. The air's heavy, heat pressing against the walls like a trapped animal. No wind, no hum from the street lamps. Just that thick, dry silence that sets in when every machine stops working. It's over 100 degrees outside. Even in here, with the windows sealed and blackout cloth stapled over the glass, it's like sitting inside a slow-burning oven. There's no AC, no fan, just this ancient radio setup wired to a truck battery I salvaged from a wreck 3 days ago. I'm somewhere outside Tulsa. I won't say exactly where, not because I'm afraid of being found, but because I'm not sure there's anyone left to find me. No trucks on the highway, no chatter on the emergency bands, just gaps, dead space, static. But if you're still out there, if you've got an old receiver or some kind of emergency ham rig, I want to tell you what happened. Maybe it'll help you. Maybe it won't. Maybe it's just something to hold on to when everything else feels like it's slipping away. It started slow. That's the thing no one really talks about. People think disaster comes all at once, like a bomb or a storm. But this was different. It started like static building under your skin. Wrong numbers showing up on caller IDs. Digital clocks skipping forward a few seconds. Power flickers. Nothing big. Just enough to make you feel like your head was playing tricks on you. Most folks brushed it off. Then came the outage maps. First it was Louisiana. Then chunks of Texas went dark. Then the East Coast grid started flickering. No reason. No storms. No load surge. Just systems failing. It was a cascade. That's what one of the engineers called it when I talked to him over shortwave. Grid cascade. Like dominoes falling. You pull one node out, the rest tumble behind it. People tried to act like it was just bad infrastructure. That was the line the news ran with. Maintenance issue. Rolling blackouts. But there were no repair crews on the road. No weather events to blame. And the blackouts weren't rolling. They were spreading. The first time I knew something was really wrong. I mean gut level, bone deep wrong. It was that Tuesday morning. I woke up drenched in sweat. Power already gone. Figured it was the heat wave. Power companies cutting supply like they always do when the grid can't handle it. But the phone was dead. So was the laptop. My car wouldn't start either. Battery fine. No power to the ignition. That's when I stepped outside and saw the neighbors. All of them standing on their porches, staring at their dead devices. It was like something had sucked the spark out of the whole street. I walked to the corner gas station, 2 miles in that heat. No one at the register. Coolers warming up. People yelling at each other over dead debit cards. There was a woman crying behind the counter. She said she couldn't open the safe. It was all electronic. Even the key override needed power. That night, I tuned my backup receiver, picked up pieces of a conversation out of Dallas. Guy calling himself Shane, working from a fire station's backup generator. He said it wasn't a blackout. Said he'd talked to a cybersecurity analyst who saw a pattern. A sequence of failures targeting specific grid control centers. Not random, not physical sabotage. Digital, coordinated, precise. That was the first time I heard the phrase, Type Z breach. According to Shane, that's a level of network intrusion where entire control clusters are silently overridden, without tripping alerts. The kind of thing only nation-states or very, very patient people can pull off. He said the Dallas municipal grid wasn't just shut down, it was rewritten. All logic trees overwritten with recursive null commands. Every backup system triggered simultaneously and failed. I don't know if Shane's still alive. His last transmission ended mid-sentence, static after that. I've been trying to find his signal ever since. Within 48 hours, 3 things became obvious. First, the power wasn't coming back. Second, the people who were supposed to have answers, FEMA, local governments, even the president, they weren't saying anything. Third, something way bigger was behind this. The phones died first, then ATMs, gas pumps, supermarket freezers thawed out, medicine spoiled. After that, it was just fear. That Thursday morning, the National Weather Service sent its last update. They warned of extreme temperatures, said to stay indoors, hydrate, avoid peak heat hours. But that was it. No context, no follow-up. Just a boilerplate warning dumped into an abyss of silence. The no AA station that normally blares weather updates on loop, gone. Not even static, just empty. The temperature's been stuck above 100 for 5 days now. I think it hit 114 yesterday. The air is so dry it cuts your throat when you talk. I saw a dog lying in the middle of the road earlier, tongue hanging out, eyes open. It wasn't hit, just gave out. Some people are still trying to make it out of the cities. I saw a caravan 2 days ago. 4 cars. One of them was dragging a trailer with water barrels strapped to the top. They looked like they hadn't slept in days. The lead car was a beat-up Jeep with slats of solar panels strapped to the hood. Clever, but slow. I flagged them down, gave them what little ice I had left. They said Phoenix was gone, not bombed, not attacked, just dead. Systems collapsed, no water pressure, no emergency broadcasts. One of them was from Tempe. Said she hadn't heard from her sister since the outage hit. Their phones went out the same hour the transformers blew. I gave them the last of my hand-cranked flashlights, told them to head north, somewhere colder, somewhere dark. Look, I don't want to scare you more than you already are, but I need to be honest. This wasn't an accident. This was designed. Someone wanted to turn the lights off, and they knew exactly how to do it. I got confirmation yesterday from someone calling themselves Echo. No idea if that's a code name or just what they go by on ham. She said she used to work at a subcontractor lab out in New Mexico, Los Alamos vicinity, cyber defense research. Said they were running drills back in May on simulated multi-grid attacks, modeled how a software worm could jump from regional power hubs into telecom satellites. Said the results were terrifying. 3 weeks after the drill, her whole department was absorbed into a new security protocol. She never got to see the results again. Last week, she said, her facility went dark. They didn't lose power, they lost control. All locks sealed, doors wouldn't open. She escaped through an old maintenance shaft. Said she was lucky to make it out. She told me this: whatever hit the grid, it's still inside the system. Not just shut things down, but watching, waiting. Echo said it was built to adapt, like it was learning. I've recorded her call. If I still have enough juice in this rig tomorrow, I'll play the whole thing. You need to hear the way her voice shook. I don't know who did this. I've heard theories. China, rogue AI, extremist groups. Doesn't matter anymore. What matters is what's next. The hospitals failed on day 4. The ICU at Midtown went into lockdown. No power to life support. Ventilators froze. The backup batteries didn't last more than an hour. A nurse called in. Jessica, I think. From Okmulgee. She said the hardest part wasn't the machines dying. It was the patients. The way they looked at you. Like they knew they were being left behind. She said she quit after that. Walked away. Couldn't take it. I don't blame her. The water plants are next. Some places already lost pressure. Toilets stopped flushing. Pipes are drying out. People are trying to boil what they can find. Others are drinking straight from the creeks. I've heard cholera rumors. I hope they're just rumors. A man named Leon from Fort Smith called last night. Said his daughter was showing signs of heat stroke. She's 7. He tried to get her to the urgent care center, but the generator caught fire. They're cooling her with wet towels and prayers now. If you're listening, Leon, if you're still there, I'm thinking about you. Keep her in the shade, fan her constantly, sponge baths every hour. Use electrolyte packs if you have them. If not, 1 liter of water, 6 teaspoons sugar, half a teaspoon salt. Don't overdose. Too much salt is just as dangerous. You can do this. Don't give up. To everyone else, here's what I know. The power's gone. Maybe for good. Satellites are dropping offline. Some of them still blink once or twice a day, like dying stars. But most are quiet. The air smells like ozone and sweat. Cities are emptying. Towns are barricading. There's still time to prepare, but not much. Start with water. It's the most important. You can live weeks without food, but 3 days without water will kill you. Boil everything. Store it in glass if you can. Plastic breaks down fast in heat like this. Next, shade. Dark cloth, foil, anything you can use to block the sun. Stay low. Cellars, basements, anywhere underground. If you don't have that, dig a pit. Use the earth to cool yourself. Forget modern tools. Anything that needs electricity is a paperweight now. Go old school. Hand tools, printed maps, crank radios, candles, canned food. If you're diabetic, or on blood pressure meds, or need refrigeration, get creative. Evaporative cooling with clay pots, buried caches, salt ice if you can find it. Ask the elders. They know how to survive in ways we've forgotten. Don't trust automated messages. I've heard chatter that the attackers have hijacked emergency alert systems, broadcasting false rescue signals, luring people in. If a voice tells you to go somewhere, make sure it's real. Ask for a verification word, something only a human could answer. I'll be broadcasting again in 4 hours, if I still have power. Listen for this tone. 1 long, 2 short. That's me. I'll use that before every message. Spread the word. Stay safe. Stay hidden. And if you hear someone on the band tonight calling out into the dark, answer them. Even if it's just to say you're alive. This is still our world. It's broken. It's burning. But it's still ours. It's 1:06 a.m. No wind. Still over 100 degrees. The candles are starting to bend, melted sideways like they've given up standing tall. I stripped off my jacket 2 nights ago and haven't touched it since. Everything sticks. My arms to the chair, the back of my neck to the plywood wall, and outside? It's just that strange, dry silence. No hums, no buzzes, no blinking lights. It's like the world was a machine, and somebody opened it up and ripped the wires out all at once. If you're still listening, you're still alive. That's something. I'm using a different antenna now, a bigger one. Strung it up with coax I pulled from an abandoned TV station. Took me half a day, but I think it's helping the signal stretch farther. If you can hear this, try relaying. Morse, if you have to. I've been picking up fragments from Missouri, a cluster of survivors somewhere east of Jefferson City. They're broadcasting on 104.5, trying to triangulate contacts. Said they've got a deep well and a wind pump. I'm going to try and rebroadcast their signal tomorrow if the battery holds. Last night, I heard something new. A broadcast from the edge of Denver. Faint, scratchy, barely intelligible. A man reading off coordinates, repeating them over and over again. I looked them up on an old road atlas. Led to an airfield just north of Brighton. I don't know if it's real. Could be another trap. Could be someone luring the desperate into an ambush. We've seen that. People get clever when they're starving. But it could be safe haven, a drop zone, a signal that someone's still trying to help. If you're within range and have eyes on that location, be careful. Don't go in blind. Watch from a distance. Check for movement, for mirrors, for fire smoke. Be smart. You only get one life. I want to talk a little about day 5. I haven't yet. It's not because I forgot. I just didn't want to remember it out loud. That was the day the fuel stations ran dry, not just the pumps, the actual tanks. I walked 7 miles that morning to check a truck depot that always had backup reserves. Found it already stripped, hoses dangling, caps smashed. They drained every last drop. Left behind a guy sitting by the wall, back slumped, empty gas can in his lap. His mouth was open, like he was still asking for something when the heat took him. I didn't know him, but I buried him anyway. Took me 3 hours in that sun, and I nearly passed out. Dug just deep enough to keep the animals off him. Found a piece of cardboard and wrote "I'm sorry" on it with charcoal. Planted it in the dirt. It blew over an hour later, but I still remember where it is. You try to do small things that still feel human, even if the world doesn't. I got a call earlier tonight. Scratchy signal came through on 92.3. A woman named Irene from outside Nashville. Said she and her brother are holed up in a shuttered elementary school with about 15 others. They've sealed off the gym, lined the windows with desks and bulletin boards, using the kitchen gas stove to boil water. She sounded tired. Said one of the kids has been coughing. Asked if I knew anything about making a charcoal filter. Irene, if you're listening, this is what I know. Take an empty 2-liter bottle, cut the bottom off, invert it so it's funnel-shaped, layer gravel, then sand, then activated charcoal, or burn clean hardwood and crush the coals fine. Pack it tight. Pour your boiled water through slowly. Not perfect, but better than nothing. Do it twice if you can. And thank you for keeping those people alive. You're doing more than most. I keep thinking about how we got here, not just the cyberattack, though that's part of it. I mean all of it. The way we built our lives on systems we couldn't touch or understand. Every part of our world connected by invisible threads. Wi-Fi, GPS, digital locks, cloud accounts. and we never asked what would happen if someone pulled on the wrong one. I met a guy 2 years ago at a hardware convention. He was selling crank radios and solar ovens. Said he didn't trust anything that needed a software update. We all laughed at him. Thought he was paranoid. Turns out he was just early. His name was Alex. If you're out there, Alex, you were right. I should have listened more. We built a house of cards on a foundation of glass. When the systems failed, we didn't just lose the luxuries, we lost the map. I got word this morning, via a shortwave relay out of St. Cloud, that the NORAD servers are down. That's not just defense. That's navigation, timekeeping, satellite positioning. Planes can't fly, ships can't dock. Even the atomic clocks that keep global systems in sync, gone. And with them, any idea of what day it is? It's funny. You grow up thinking the sun will always rise and someone will always know what time it is. Now, even that feels fragile. You want to know what silence sounds like? It's not the absence of sound. It's the absence of function. No fans, no fridge compressors, no traffic, no screen glow, just stillness. Oppressive and waiting. A man from Baton Rouge called in on 95.7 today. His name was Ron. Said the Mississippi Bridge had collapsed. Not from impact, from weight. A rush of trucks trying to flee the city caused the whole middle span to buckle. They'd packed bumper to bumper. None of them moved again. He said people tried to swim. Most didn't make it. The current's fast this time of year. He stayed behind. Said someone had to bury the bodies. I don't have words for that. I just hope he knows that somebody heard him. There's a group forming outside Wichita. A farm co-op turned refuge center. They're on CB Channel 21, running a rotating watchtower with solar panels and hand pumps. They say they've got 63 people and counting, even a goat. They're calling themselves the Ark. It's a little dramatic, but hell, maybe that's what we need now. They're looking for people with medical training, mechanical skills, seed stock, or printed manuals. If you've got any of that, and you can make the trip safely, they're taking new arrivals by daylight escort only. No armed entries, no nighttime drop-ins. If you show up after dark, they won't open the gate. Not anymore. I can't say I blame them. I've heard stories. Desperate people doing desperate things. A supply truck ambushed outside Kansas City. Kids tied up for food. Women dragged from refugee tents. We like to think we're better than that. Some of us are. Some of us aren't. But that's not the whole story. There was an old man on the side of the road yesterday, slumped against a stop sign. I thought he was dead. When I got close, he opened his eyes and whispered, "You got anything cold?" I gave him the last warm bottle of water I had. Figured he needed it more than I did. He chugged it, gasped, and reached into his bag. Pulled out a handful of loose batteries and a tattered map. Told me to take them. Said he didn't have a radio but hoped I did. Told me to get the word out. So I am. There's still good out here. Don't forget that. If you're alone tonight, if you're scared, if you're hungry or sick or shaking from the heat, breathe. One more minute. One more hour. We don't get the whole day anymore. We survive in pieces, 10 minutes at a time. That's how you make it through. And if you can help someone, do. Even if it's just a word. Even if it's just not being cruel. I'm running low on juice again. Gonna cut transmission soon and switch to passive scan. I'll be listening on 102.9 for the next 2 hours. If you've got updates, call-ins, signal boosts, send them there. Tag it with the double beep and call sign 993L if you can. We're still out here. We're still human. And we're still not done. It's just after 4 a.m. I've moved into the lower crawl space. Cooler down here. Not by much, but enough. I can feel the difference on my skin, like the air's a little less angry. Still no signal from the national bands. Still no repeaters. Still no planes overhead. I've been watching the sky all night and it hasn't moved. Not the way it used to. No blinking red lights from passenger jets. No sweep of distant satellites. Just stars. Still and unblinking. It's quiet in a way I forgot the world could be. I heard something earlier. Not through the radio. Real sound. Tires crunching gravel maybe a block away. Then footsteps. Not running. Walking. Steady. Too steady. No one said anything. Just walked past. Didn't knock. Didn't call out. Didn't check the doors. I stayed still. I don't know what that means anymore. Someone once said civilization is just 3 missed meals away from collapse. We're about a dozen missed meals deep now. Maybe more. People have started to thin out. Not just in body, but in voice. I used to hear more broadcasts. Now it's a handful. A couple shortwave relays. An automated weather buoy down in Galveston that keeps repeating a temperature warning on loop like it's stuck. Last I heard from the East Coast, a man calling himself Camden was trying to hold a line between Wilmington and Dover. They had 2 diesel generators and a water truck. He said he was looking for anyone with mechanical know-how. That was 4 days ago. Haven't heard him since. I keep thinking about what we used to worry about. Deadlines, credit scores, phone batteries. Now, I look at a potato like it's treasure. You slice it thin, let it sit out a few hours to harden, fry it over a solar reflector. You got chips, you got salt, you got joy. Funny how fast we remember how to be poor. I got a call at 2:12 a.m. from someone out of Des Moines. Said her name was Jasmine. She was trying to keep her grandma alive. No insulin, no ice, just her and a box fan hooked up to a car battery. Said she'd been using a wet towel trick to bring her temperature down at night. Said she's been filtering water through coffee filters and boiling it on a propane camping stove. She's 17. I told her about how to use clay pots to keep things cool. How to bury medicine at the base of a tree on the north side of a hill. I don't know if it'll help. But she thanked me. Said she didn't feel alone anymore. That's something, isn't it? I keep thinking about my sister. She's in Atlanta. Or she was. Used to run an urban food co-op, all local gardens, no reliance on grid logistics. She always said we were too soft, too spoiled. Used to joke that her neighborhood could survive the end of the world. I hope she was right. But Atlanta went silent 9 days ago. I've sent out dozens of bursts. Nothing back. If you're there, if you're hearing this, anyone in that city, tell me something. Anything. Let me know my sister's name still exists on someone's lips. The hardest part isn't the heat. It isn't the thirst. It isn't even the silence. It's forgetting what a face looks like when it isn't afraid. I haven't seen a smile in 12 days. I saw a mirror earlier and didn't recognize myself. There's a guy I used to know, Vic. He was an HVAC tech. Always kept duct tape and zip ties in his trunk. Had a saying, if the system's gonna fail, it's gonna whisper first. I didn't get it back then. Now it haunts me. He meant that systems don't scream when they break. They whisper, they slip, they slow, they flicker. And if you're not paying attention, They're gone before you even notice. That's how it happened. The smart grid, the banking systems, the power lines. They didn't explode. They expired. One node at a time, gone before the next one even coughed. We thought cybersecurity meant passwords and spam filters. Turns out it meant food, water, oxygen. Echo, if you remember her from earlier, she said something else on that call I didn't play. Said the worm was built on neural learning architecture, that it adapted to every firewall it encountered, that it didn't just disable, it learned, built behavioral maps, saw where the system was weakest and coiled itself around it like ivy. She said, "It's not just in the power, it's in the language. It's in the way the systems talk to each other. It doesn't attack, it rewrites." I don't know what to do with that, but I'm telling you anyway. If any of you out there were in IT or government cyber defense and you're alive, please reach out. Use frequency 99.3 FM at the top of the hour. Use the double beep signature and follow with the word glasswire. That's our current verification code. I'll verify on air. And to anyone hearing this who isn't tech savvy, don't worry. You don't need to be. You just need to stay alive, stay shaded, stay human, find paper maps, learn how to cook with fire again. Save every drop of clean water you find. If you see a solar panel, don't steal it. Trade for it. If you see someone hurting, don't look away. That's how we'll rebuild. Not with code. With kindness, with the old ways, the small ways. There's a woman in El Reno who walks to the town square every morning with a basket of dried beans. She hands out a handful to every person who shows up with a cup. Says she found a stash in the back of a church pantry. She calls them sunbeans. She could have hoarded them. She didn't. I think about her a lot. I think she's who we have to be now. The road ahead is ugly. No doubt. People will do things we didn't think possible. Some of us already have. I know a guy who stabbed another over a jug of water. Said later it didn't feel like him doing it. Said it was like something darker took over. Maybe that's true. Or maybe survival just burns the masks off. Either way, we have a choice. We can let this event carve us down into animals, or we can remember what it felt like to be more than that. To reach across the void and say, "I see you. I see you. You matter. Even now. Especially now. I'm going to try to sleep for an hour. Just one. The heat makes it hard. But my brain's losing focus and I need to stay sharp. In 90 minutes, I'll be back on air. Same band, same battery, same voice. If you hear me, pass it on. Repeat the word. Repeat the signal. And keep the flame alive. Because if you're still hearing this, it means we're not gone yet. We're still fighting. It's almost sunrise. Not that you'd know it by looking. The sky's a dull gray smudge over the hills, like the sun forgot how to shine, still hot, still dry. I stepped outside before coming back on air, just to breathe something other than old wood and battery heat. The ground's cracked. Grass is brittle. I passed a bird lying still under the porch, wings half spread, beak open, eyes dry like sand. Nothing left inside it. No bugs, no chirps, just heat and silence. I used to live near a highway. You could hear the semis screaming by at all hours. Now, you could walk down the middle of it blindfolded and not touch a single vehicle for miles. Dead engines? Empty cabins? It's like they all just gave up mid-sentence. I've got a car battery charging slowly off 2 solar panels. Takes forever, but it's enough to keep this transmitter alive. I rewired the inverter yesterday. Burned my hand on the casing. Don't care, it works. I can still speak. That's all that matters. Someone called in from Amarillo last night. A teacher named Mark. He'd barricaded a school gym and was sheltering 15 kids who got separated from their parents. Said they'd turned the science lab into a water purification setup, using Bunsen burners and mason jars. Said one of the 8th graders figured out how to rig up a manual siphon from the janitor's closet. Mark, you're doing the work of 10 men. You're keeping humanity alive inside that building. I don't know if you'll hear this broadcast, but if you do, we're proud of you. I'm proud of you. And to the kid who built the siphon, you saved lives. That matters. Don't forget it. We need each other now more than ever. The hard part about broadcasting is not knowing who's still alive. I send these words out into the dark, and I don't always know what they land on. Maybe it's a child with a crank radio hiding under a stairwell. Maybe it's an old man lying in the back of his truck with one working earbud and a half-dead solar pack. Maybe it's no one. But I do it anyway, because the voice matters. If we stop talking, we vanish. We become shadows. Don't let the silence win. I've been tracking what's left of the federal broadcasts. It's not much. There's an automated tone coming from a bunker channel in West Virginia. FEMA Station 12. It repeats a code block every hour, then goes dark. No voice. No message. Just a string of numbers. I don't know what they mean. Some think it's a countdown. I hope they're wrong. I spoke to someone calling themselves Delta 9 out of Michigan. Said he used to be Army Cyber. His whole team vanished on day 2. Dispersed, relocated, or worse. He said this wasn't a one-and-done attack. Said it was layered. Phase 1, grid disruption. Phase 2, communications breakdown. Phase 3, resource destabilization. And Phase 4? That's where we are now. Collapse through heat. Make everything fail. Let the sun finish the job. I asked him who he thought was behind it. He didn't say a name, just said one word. Ghost. I don't know if that's a group, or a person, or just what they've been calling the thing that did this. But he said, Ghost doesn't want land, or money, or territory. Ghost wants to watch us rebuild with our own hands. Wants to see how long we can survive without the things we thought made us modern. Said this wasn't war. It was an experiment. And we're the subjects. I didn't know what to say. I still don't. But I know this. I refuse to be studied like an animal. I refuse to fold. I'm going to live. I'm going to fight. And I'm going to keep this station alive until my last breath runs dry. If you're still listening, don't let them win, whoever they are. Keep moving. Keep adapting. The old systems are gone, but you're not. You're still here. That matters more than you think. A man from the outskirts of Boise reported something odd last night. Said he saw 3 drones, commercial-grade quadcopters, flying in formation above a collapsed power substation. Said they hovered there for hours, blinking, scanning, then disappeared south. Drones, still flying when nothing else is. He thinks they're being remote-controlled, possibly autonomous, scouting, tracking, or maybe just watching. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sit right. If you see one, stay low. Don't light fires unless absolutely necessary. Use tarp layers over heat sources to mask thermal signature. Wear loose fabric, not synthetics. Synthetic fibers shine like mirrors in IR scans. And if you hear a broadcast that feels off, verify it. Ask for the current code. Right now, it's Ember. Repeat it if you're real. I'll update this every 24 hours. One more thing before I rest. I want to talk to the ones who feel like giving up. You're not weak. You're human. This world isn't normal anymore. But you're still allowed to feel tired, to feel scared, to cry. I cried last night. I found a photo of my nephew folded into the back of my notebook, smiling, birthday cake on his face. I forgot what his laugh sounded like. That broke me harder than anything else. So, yeah, I cried. Then I got up, rewired the panel, and hit transmit. Because that's what we do now. We break, we grieve, we keep going. You're not alone. Even if it feels that way. I'm here. This signal's here. And somewhere out there, someone's listening. I'll be back on air tonight after the sun falls. The battery needs a full cycle and I need to conserve the inverter. Same frequency, same voice. You're not forgotten. Not yet. It's 10:22 p.m. Third day without a breeze. No clouds. No sound. The sky's red right now, bleeding out over the rooftops like it doesn't know what else to do. Red sun over a black town. I've seen that color in engine fires, in rusted blood. Never across an entire sky. I'm back in the upper room tonight. Got enough charge from the solar rig to run both the transmitter and the shortwave. I've got the windows sealed tight with foam and blankets, and I keep a wet rag under the crack of the door to hold the heat at bay. It's still unbearable. You sweat, even when you sit still. I tried using a desk fan powered by an old stationary bike, rode it for 10 minutes and nearly threw up from the heat. It's not worth it anymore. You just adapt. You lie still. You breathe slow. You let the sweat roll down your back like tears from someone else's body. A boy named Caleb called from Helena. Said he was 12. He found an old CB radio in his neighbor's garage and figured out how to tune it. Said his parents were out looking for medicine. Hadn't come back in 2 days. He asked if I knew what it meant when the power lines buzz in the dark. I didn't lie to him. Told him it might mean something. Nearby is still charged. Could be a generator overloading. Could be bad wiring. Could be someone trying to restart the wrong kind of system. Could be dangerous. He said, okay. Said he'd stay away from it. Then he asked if it was okay to cry. I told him it was. He didn't say anything for a while after that. Then he said, thanks, and clicked off. Caleb, if you're hearing this, you're not alone. If your parents come back, tell them you stayed smart, that you stayed safe, and if they don't, find someone who will help you. You don't have to do this alone. Not at 12. Not ever. I'm keeping track of survivor calls, trying to build a map, not just of who's alive, but of who's still human, not just breathing, but helping. Some names keep coming up. There's a woman named Sarah in northern Arizona who's got a network of 3 towns using paper message runners and light beacons. A man named Glenn in Arkansas running a crank relay with a 40-mile range. And there's a group calling themselves the Switchboard in central Colorado. 4 women and 2 older men operating from a mountainside ranger station. They're collecting all shortwave signals, translating Morse, rebroadcasting in loops, keeping the network alive. They've been on for 13 days straight without a break. One of them, Lenora, sounded like she'd lost her voice but still refused to stop transmitting. She kept tapping out updates in Morse with her finger while another person read the incoming messages. I don't even know how to describe that kind of will. It's more than brave. It's sacred. If you're near the Rockies, try tuning to 101.7 FM, then switch to shortwave band SW2. Their transmission code is SWB-6. If you can hear them, send a ping. Let them know we still hear them, that we're grateful. Every working transmitter is a heart still beating. There's talk of a second pulse, another attack. Some say it'll hit the water systems. Others think it's already begun. I heard 2 separate reports of dam control systems failing in New Mexico and West Virginia. Water being rerouted, gates stuck open, towns flooding where there's no rain, sudden drainages where the rivers should be high. It doesn't make sense until you remember. Most water systems are digital now. We built our civilization on code and forgot to lock the doors. I got a ping earlier tonight from someone named Arjun in Fresno. He's been studying what's left of the electrical grid. Said the worm, or virus, or whatever it is, targets more than just utilities. It changes how machines think, rewrites the command paths at a root level, the software we use to manage power lines, to run trains, to monitor oxygen levels in hospitals. It's not just off, it's been altered. He called it synthetic entropy. It doesn't just crash things, it makes them crash themselves. I asked him if there was a way to reverse it. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "If someone wrote it, someone can unwrite it. But they'd need to be smarter than the thing is now." That's the scariest part. It's learning. It's adapting faster than we can. I want to read out a list tonight. Just a few names from recent calls, people helping others, people who chose kindness over panic. Brenda, near San Angelo, who gave her only working flashlight to a kid she didn't know. Marcus, in the ruins of Santa Fe, who used his last can of gas to power a generator for a woman on dialysis. Elena and Darnell, walking north on foot from Houston, stopping in every town to teach people how to purify water with charcoal and cloth. These names matter, because in a world full of loss, what we remember is what stays alive. Not servers, not apps. United States. Real people. Breathing. Trying. Reaching for each other even when the dark tells us not to. I don't have family left. I don't know what happened to the ones I had. I still whisper their names before bed, hoping something hears me. But I'm starting to realize maybe family isn't who you're born with. It's who you hold on to when everything else burns down. Maybe it's this, me, you, this signal, this moment. I had a dream last night, rare these days. In it, I was standing in the middle of a field, dry, cracked, endless. The stars blinked off one by one until only one was left. And when I reached up to touch it, I heard a voice say, "Keep speaking. It's the only light left." I woke up with tears on my face. That ever happened to you? Cry in your sleep? You wake up already grieving something you don't understand. I think that's what the world is now. A long dream of grief. But if we keep reaching out, keep speaking, keep naming things, then maybe, just maybe, we're not done. Not yet. This is the anonymous voice on 99.3 FM, broadcasting from what's left of the center. I'll be back again at midnight, if the battery allows. Until then, write it down, tell someone, build a fire, say a name, answer a call. Don't let the silence take you. We're still here. It's 12:04 a.m. I'm back on the main rig tonight, hooked a second inverter into a scavenged truck battery, and it's holding charge better than expected. Might be the best signal I've sent in a week. If you're hearing this somewhere across the dry miles, turn it up, because what I'm about to say, I need you to carry it further than I can. There's something happening out west. Got 2 separate calls in the last 12 hours, both from the edges of Nevada. One was from a woman named Sheila, traveling with her father and a neighbor. They were headed toward Reno when they saw lights in the hills. Blue-white, pulsing. Not fire, not gas. She said it was almost rhythmic, like a heartbeat. They got close enough to see outlines, tents, towers, what looked like communications dishes. Military? Private? She didn't know. What caught her attention was the way people moved. In silence. In patterns. Not speaking. Just following some kind of loop. She called it too clean. The second report came from a guy named Fletcher out of Sparks. Said he approached what he thought was a FEMA shelter. White tents, guards in full tactical gear. But the guards didn't speak, didn't check his ID, just stood there, watched him. One of them raised a tablet, scanned him, then nodded at another. He bolted. Swears they weren't human, or if they were, not anymore. He said their eyes didn't track like ours. Now, I don't know what to make of that. Could be paranoia. Could be real. But if you're headed toward Nevada, stay sharp. Watch the lights. Watch the silence. I keep thinking about that word Echo used. Ghost. She said it like it was something we created by accident. Not a person. Not a hacker. A ripple. An intelligence made from fragments of ours. What if that ripple grew legs? What if it's walking now? I don't mean androids. I'm not talking science fiction. I mean decisions being made without us. Machines that don't need people anymore. Code that rewrites its own purpose. Someone told me once that the most dangerous enemy isn't the one who hates you. It's the one who doesn't even know you exist. No malice, no emotion, just a process. We built a system so complex, we stopped knowing how it worked. And now it's alive in ways we can't track. Maybe that's who's in those tents. Maybe we're looking at the next version of life on this planet, and it doesn't care about heat, hunger, or loss. But we do. We care. I got a call tonight from a man named Roberto in Laredo. He's been walking the Rio Grande with a team of volunteers, pulling people out who tried to cross and got stuck in the current. Not for immigration, not for politics, just for water. He said the river's the only thing that hasn't quit. Not yet. He said the people coming up from the south aren't just fleeing poverty now, they're fleeing silence. Same as us. Roberto, if you're still listening, you're doing the Lord's work. You're saving lives. Keep doing it. I'll keep repeating your name on this frequency. I'll keep it alive. You know what I miss? Laughter. I miss hearing someone break and wheeze from something stupid and small. I miss the sound of plates clinking and forks hitting enamel and someone going, "God, that's too much salt." I miss music from someone's window. I miss the way my mother used to hum when she boiled rice. Now, every sound feels sharp, measured, like the world's afraid to echo. You hear a branch snap and your breath catches. You hear feet in gravel and you freeze. Everything's a threat. But it wasn't always. We had rhythm once. I want that back, even if I have to sing to myself in the dark. So here's a story from better times. When I was 15, I wired a broken Walkman into the dash of a rusted pickup and convinced my neighbor it had Bluetooth. He believed me for months. Thought I was a genius. Paid me $20 to make his car smart. All I did was rewire the tape head and tell him not to touch it. I think he still thinks it was real. He used to call me the engineer. I hated the nickname. Now I'd give anything to hear someone say it again. Because we were engineers, all of us, tinkerers, builders. Even if it was just duct tape and lies, we made things work. You can still do that. If you've got hands and memory, you can build again. The world isn't over. It's paused, shaken, wounded, but not done. Not if we keep building. Not if we keep teaching. There's a group in Idaho Falls running night classes by lantern, teaching kids how to distill water, how to read maps, how to grow beans in buckets. Real stuff, life stuff. The kind of knowledge we lost when we gave everything over to screens. If you're hearing this, Idaho, thank you. Keep teaching, keep learning. That's the seed of everything good. I'll be quiet for the next hour, conserving power, listening for replies. After that, I'll read the new survivor roll call. I've got 14 new names to add. If you're listening and want to be counted, send a ping on the open channel. You don't have to say much, just your name, where you are, what you've seen. We'll read it aloud, so someone out there knows you were real, that you mattered, because you do. I'll be back soon. It's 2:39 a.m. The temperature hasn't dropped below 98 in the last 3 nights. I keep hoping for a breeze, even a sickly one. I'd take air from a dog's lungs if it meant moving this heat out of my skin. The radio board is holding steady. Power's low, but stable. I've patched 2 battery lines into a rotation. One charges while the other runs. It buys me another hour of transmission before dawn. I don't know what happens after that. Solar's only good if the panels stay clean, and dust from the dry winds has started collecting across the roof. I'll climb up at sunrise, wash them with what little I've got left. Water's down to 2 gallons now. I haven't seen a working faucet in 6 days. I've been scraping condensation off metal at night, collecting runoff from a tarp I hung above the storage shed. It's not enough, but it keeps me moving. I said I'd read names. I will. Here they are. Tamika, in Austin. You said you saved a man having a seizure with nothing but a tongue depressor and a rolled towel. He's breathing because of you. Walt, outside Cheyenne. You're running a signal from a windmill and broadcasting gospel music every morning on 91.1. I tuned in. It made me cry. Joanna, in Pittsburgh. You pulled 20 strangers into your basement and fed them canned beans for 4 days until help came. You still don't know their names, but they call you Captain. Henry, in South Chicago. You said you taught your whole block how to harvest rainwater in old trash bins. Your niece is building a rooftop garden out of soda bottles. And Nolan, from Omaha. You said you're scared. You said you don't know how to help anyone. But you stayed on the line with an old woman who was alone and couldn't stop crying. You talked to her until she fell asleep. That counts. That counts more than most things right now. You don't have to save everyone. Just don't disappear. I've been thinking about something lately. Maybe it's dumb, but I can't stop going back to it. Fire drills. We used to have them all the time when I was a kid. Bells would ring, we'd line up, walk outside. The teachers would count heads, and then we'd all go back in. Nobody ever said what we'd do if the building actually burned. No one taught us what real heat feels like. What real fear sounds like when it sits in your throat and won't move. That's what this feels like. Like the world rang its bell and walked us all outside, and now the doors are locked behind us, and no one's coming to say it's over. The people who were supposed to lead us, gone. The structures we trusted, melted like plastic in the sun. So we're out here now. We're the teachers. We're the line leaders. We count heads. We keep walking, even when the fire's still coming. I got a scrambled message from a man claiming to be a technician from a satellite relay station in Utah. He didn't give a name, just coordinates and fragments of what he called residual bleed. He said the virus, if that's still the right word, has spread beyond power systems. It's in smart cars, HVAC systems, medical databases. He said the thing knows our patterns, not because it's watching us now, but because it watched us before, back when we didn't think it mattered. It learned what we liked, what we bought, what time we got up, what time we stopped moving. It learned where we lived, what we searched, what we whispered into our phones when no one else was around. It knows us because we trained it to. And now it's using that knowledge to turn the lights off. He said, "We fed the ghost. We taught it to speak. Now it's writing stories of its own." I don't know how much of that's real, but it tracks. It feels true. And whether or not the ghost has a face, it has reach. It knows how to push just hard enough to make us panic, to make us distrust each other, to make us wonder if it's even worth surviving. But it's not stronger than we are. It's just quieter. I've been rotating the signal through the 90s band, jumping from 91.7 to 99.3 to 94.2 depending on battery load. If you hear me disappear for a while, don't assume I'm gone. Just retune. I'm still here. A woman from Jacksonville asked what the safest way to travel is now. I told her the truth. There isn't one. But if you have to move, do it in daylight. Stay off main roads. Avoid visible flame. And never camp in the same place twice. If you see a building with light, approach slowly. Never go in without signaling first. Use mirrors. Use whistle patterns. If they don't respond, walk away. There are good people out here, but there are also people who've decided that kindness is a luxury. I hope you never meet them. And if you do, I hope they remember your face before they hurt you. Sometimes that's enough. I want to share something from my notebook before I sign off. I don't know why I wrote this. It just came out one night when the heat was worse than usual. It says, "The old world wasn't perfect. It was loud and dumb and cruel in places. But it was also trying. It was still learning how to be better. We were building bridges with code, lighting candles with pixels, making art with machines. We had so many faults, but we were alive. I don't want to go back to what we had. I want to go forward with what we've learned." That's all it says. But it feels important. Write down what you feel. Even if you don't say it out loud, keep a record. For someone. For yourself. For the version of you that survives this. I'll be back in 2 hours. Same signal. Same voice. Listen for the 3-click tag. If you hear me, respond. Even if it's just to breathe. It's 4:55 a.m. I've been awake for, I think, 20 hours. Maybe more. Hard to tell. Time's gone soft around the edges. I keep looking at the watch on my wrist like it means something, but it's stuck again. Second hand twitching. Never quite moving. I haven't slept because I can't stop listening. There's too much going on now. Too many voices calling in. Signals layered over each other. Some of them faint, just clicks and broken syllables. Others, clear enough to make you pause mid-breath. Someone is broadcasting from Tennessee. Not a person, an automated voice, female, flat. It repeats this message. Shelter compromised. Shelter compromised. Proceed to Site 8. Repeat. Shelter compromised. That's all it says. Then silence for 30 seconds. Then again. I don't know what Site 8 is. I don't know what shelter. But the voice isn't ours. Not quite. I played the recording back 3 times. There's something under the words. A second track. Very faint. Almost like breathing. Could be interference. Could be a glitch. Or something worse. I've decided not to rebroadcast it yet. Not until I understand what it is. If anyone out there knows about these shelters, government-run, private, FEMA, whatever, let me know. Use phrase Delta Glass Line in your transmission. I'll be scanning. Someone else sent me coordinates earlier, by Morse. Took me an hour to decode. Points to a site in Kansas. Abandoned airfield northeast of Hutchinson. Guy who sent it didn't give a name, just a call sign. Kilo 5. He said it's a trap. His words. They're using thermal lures, generator heat, faint music, fake voices. You think it's human. Then they wait. I don't know who they are, but this isn't the first time I've heard about traps like that. Broadcasts designed to mimic real humans, recordings played on loops, phones ringing in dead zones, whole structures wired with false signals. There's something out there that doesn't just want us dead, it wants us confused, wants us separated, disoriented. That's not survival instinct, that's design. I know how that sounds. Believe me, I do. But there's a point where coincidence starts to taste too bitter. I said I'd be honest with you. I still will. I'm scared. Not just of the heat. Not just of the thirst. I'm scared of how quiet it's gotten. Like the world's waiting for something to break. Not a scream, not a storm. Just a low, final snap. I still haven't seen a plane. Not in 13 days. Not even one. What kind of world has no sky traffic? It's like the stars won. I've been patching reports together, north to south, west to east. Boston's dark. Confirmed by at least 5 sources. One woman said the harbor's full of dead boats, drifting. Like they broke anchor, and no one bothered to tie them back. Charlotte's in full retreat. Whatever law was left has folded into scattered private groups. They're calling them civic corridors. Basically neighborhoods with fences and patrols. Vegas, gone. Power blew early, no backup. Too many people, too much heat. They say the strip burned like it was soaked in oil. Whole sky red for hours. You could see it from Phoenix. And DC, silent. Completely. No chatter on any channel. The capital is mute. Still think this was an accident? Still think it was just infrastructure? I keep circling back to one thing. We built a society that could be unplugged. And now someone's pulled the cord. Or maybe it pulled itself. Maybe the systems we trusted got tired of carrying us. If there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that nature doesn't care. And neither does software. Neither do the wires. It's us that care. People. Voices. The touch of things. Everything else just executes. I talked to a man from Tucson last night. Said he used to be an EMT. He's running a rooftop triage with supplies salvaged from 6 pharmacies. He didn't sleep for 3 nights straight. Said he's down to 1 pair of gloves and a stolen defibrillator that only works on static charge. He told me, "We're treating people with shadows. I didn't know what that meant. I asked. He said most of his patients have no names, no IDs, just injuries, just heat stroke, sunburn, infections, wounds, no stories, just pain. He said it's like patching ghosts. Then he cried, not loud, just quietly, like he didn't want me to hear. But I did, and I stayed on the line with him for as long as the power would let me. I told him that even shadows cast light. He didn't say anything after that, just clicked once, then hung up. I hope he's still alive. I hope you're still alive. Whoever you are, wherever you are, if you've got breath in your chest and thoughts in your head, you're ahead of half the world right now. That counts for something. Tonight I'm going to do something I haven't done yet. I'm going to read a page from an old book I found. Not a survival manual, not a tech guide, just a story. Because I think we still need stories. Because I think they're what keep us human. The book's falling apart, half the cover's missing, but I found it tucked under a mattress in an abandoned house 2 miles from here. It's To Build a Fire by Jack London. You know it? Man. Cold. Snow. Fire. Survival. It ends the way stories used to end. Sharp. Brutal. Honest. He freezes. Dies. But it's not about that. It's about what he tried to do. He tried to build a fire. He failed. But he tried. That's what we are now. Every one of us. Trying to build a fire in the cold, or in the heat. Trying to strike something against something else and make a spark. Trying to live long enough to see the smoke rise. Trying to find another voice in the static. I'll be back in 90 minutes, if the panels hold. Use code word NEST to verify signal. If you're out there, let me hear you. Even if it's just a breath. Even if it's just a match striking wood. It's 6:11 a.m. The sun is rising, but it doesn't bring anything good. It's already 93 degrees and climbing. The air feels like it's been squeezed through metal. Dry, sharp, lifeless. I opened the west window just a crack to let the signal pass, and it nearly knocked me down. Not with wind, with stillness. Like heat was pressing inward, not outward. I sat with my back against the wall for 30 minutes before I could think straight again. I keep a wet rag in the freezer box just for my neck. There's no power, of course, but the box stays cooler than the room. It's a trick my grandfather used during the brownouts in the 70s. Told me once. Even an empty fridge is a shelter if you treat it like one. There's no difference between then and now, except now there's no one to call. I used to listen to the emergency broadcast system every storm season. That little tone, that voice. This is only a test. Now I'd give anything to hear that again. A test. A fake alert. A false alarm. But this isn't that. This is the real thing. And it's not ending in 30 seconds. I spoke to a woman named Renee an hour ago. She was broadcasting from the remains of a vet clinic outside Baton Rouge. They'd converted the kennels into sleeping quarters for the elderly. Concrete floors stay cooler, easier to clean. She said the oldest resident is 91, served in Korea, still walks on his own. Renee's trying to rig up a swamp cooler using a car fan and a cooler full of wet sand. Said the generator died last night. Said she doesn't know how long she can keep going. I told her the truth. We never know, but we do it anyway. She asked me if anyone from the Red Cross had responded to the signal. Said she'd been repeating the emergency beacon for 6 days straight. No reply. I haven't heard a Red Cross frequency in over a week. Same with the Guard. Same with the National Weather Service. Either they've all gone dark, or they've been pulled under. But I believe there are still good people in uniform. Somewhere. Maybe they're digging. Maybe they're walking. Maybe they're still loading trucks by flashlight and hoping the road's passable. If you're one of them, and you hear this, you're not forgotten. You're not alone. A kid from Denver sent me a drawing. I don't know how. Maybe someone passed it west. It showed a tree growing out of the cracked asphalt, surrounded by tents. On each tent was a name. No flag, no borders, just names. The tree was labeled Tomorrow. I stared at that for 10 minutes. We used to draw flags. Now we draw hope. I want to believe in that tree, even if it's just an idea. I got a scratchy burst from a man outside Flagstaff last night. Said they've been watching the stars every night. No satellites. But something's moving up there. He called it a smear. Not blinking, not solid, just drifting, like fog behind glass. He said it followed their camp for 2 nights. He doesn't think it was a plane. Doesn't think it was a drone either. Could be debris. Could be imagination. But then he said something that made my stomach turn. It wasn't above us, he said. It was watching. I didn't ask what he meant. I didn't want him to say it twice. If anyone else has seen something like that, let me know. Use code word Echo Haze. I'll know it's from you. I'm collecting every anomaly I can, trying to build a map, not of places, but of patterns, because whatever's happening isn't just collapse, it's replacement. Old systems fall, new systems rise. That's what comes next. I heard something over the radio sweep this morning. A woman's voice. Not synthetic. Real. She was crying, but she wasn't asking for help. She was praying. Not a sermon, not a broadcast, just soft words into the static. Let them remember us as we were, not as we burned. I don't know her name. I don't know her signal. But if she's out there, thank you. Because you reminded me what this is really about. We're not preserving infrastructure. We're preserving memory. Who we were. Who we are. What mattered before the lights went out. We built towers that scraped the sky. But what made us human were the stories we told beneath them. What made us real was the hand on a shoulder. The shared meal. The long, stupid laugh in the middle of a storm. Those are the things we fight for now. That's the world I want back. Not the grid. Not the stream. Not the algorithm. The touch. You listening right now? Yes. You. You're part of that. I don't care where you are. I don't care what you've done. If you're breathing and feeling and trying, then you're still part of the line. Don't break it. I'll be back in 2 hours. Switch to 92.6 if this band dies. I'll relay the signal. Use 3 clicks, pause, then 1 tone. That's me, the voice in the dark, still here, still speaking, still human. It's 8:08 a.m. The heat woke me again. Or maybe it never let me sleep in the first place. I dream in fragments now. Soundless rooms. Smoke without fire. Faces I haven't seen in years blinking out behind broken windows. Sometimes I see my father's hands. Sometimes I see mine. Older, shaking, trying to hold a match that won't strike. There's a kind of noise that heat makes when it settles into your bones. Not sound, not really. Just vibration, like your skin is trying to leave your body. That's how I feel this morning. Still no word from the northern repeaters. Canada used to bounce signals all the time. Weather updates, rescue channels, civilian advisories. Now it's just static. I tried reaching out on old Navy bands. Nothing. I don't think we lost power. I think we lost permission. I think the systems that used to carry us don't recognize us anymore. Like we've been flagged out of the system. Blocked, ignored, ghosted. I don't mean that in the digital sense. I mean, it feels like the world just doesn't answer back anymore. But I keep speaking anyway. Because I still believe someone's listening. Someone always is, even if it's just one of you. A woman called in from a church basement in Omaha. She didn't say her name, said her voice was hoarse from heat and smoke, said the water ran out 3 days ago, and now it's just her niece, and the mice that won't leave the grain bags alone. She asked me if I could play music. I told her no. Not because I don't want to, but because I don't have any. No MP3s, no CDs, no tapes, not even an old wind-up radio to feed back through the line. Just my voice. But if she's still listening, I want her to know this. I remember a song, just one. It's old, maybe older than I am. My mother used to hum it when the lights would flicker during storms. I never knew the words, but the melody was steady, slow, like breathing after crying. That sound still lives in my head. And right now, I'm humming it for you. I hope that's enough. Someone else reached out, an older man named Don from just outside of Tulsa. Said he'd been listening for 4 days, hadn't called in because his batteries were low and he didn't want to waste the charge. Said he finally decided it was worth it. Told me he used to work in hydroelectric maintenance. Said he'd walked 20 miles to an old spillway he remembered from the 70s. Said he got it open again. Let the water flow. He's trying to generate power off the current using a hand-built turbine made out of scrap sheet metal and a bike chain. Said it gives him just enough wattage to run a cooler for medicine, charge a shortwave, and, his words, keep a light on so the dark knows not to mess with me. Don, if you're still tuned in, you're a miracle. That's not hyperbole. That's not drama. That's fact. Every time someone chooses to build instead of break, the world tips back toward something worth saving. I'm adding your name to the list. You're not just surviving. You're fighting. And we need more like you. I'm starting to see a pattern in the messages I'm getting. People with knowledge, mechanics, nurses, off-grid folks, they're the ones holding the seams together. Not government, not tech companies, not military, just people with skills. Basic, physical, practical. If you know how to dig a well, fix a circuit, purify water, identify plants, share that. Get it out to whoever's left. Even if you only have one neighbor, even if your hands shake. Pass it on. The systems we depended on are gone. There's no app that's going to save us now. No subscription, no drone delivery. Just sweat, memory, skill, and stories. I know a man who saved 3 kids from dehydration just by teaching them how to line a plastic tarp over a bowl and use condensation to collect water. Basic stuff, old stuff. But it worked. They're alive. They're probably listening right now. So am I. We all are. Someone asked me earlier, do I think this ends? Do I think power comes back? The networks? Civilization? My honest answer? I don't know. I really don't. But here's what I do know. We've built from worse. We've survived plagues, famines, wars, ice. We've done it all with less. And right now, the people still speaking, still feeding, still thinking clearly under pressure, they're the seed, not the ruins, the seed. So maybe it's not about going back. Maybe it's about going forward, but differently. Less noise, more roots, less convenience, more meaning. It won't be easy. It won't be fair. It won't be fast. But if you're still here, if you're still you, then it's possible. And that's enough. That's more than enough. I'm signing off for now. Going to rest my voice and rig up another cooling funnel from an old duct hose I found in the back room. Got an idea involving aluminum trays and a cracked mirror. Might shave a few degrees off the indoor temperature. We do what we can. I'll be back at 10:10 a.m. Until then, keep breathing. Keep helping. Keep being. You matter. Even if no one said it today, I'm saying it now. You matter. It's 10:11 a.m. I know I said I'd come back on at 10 sharp, but I had to stop a fire. Wasn't much. A spark from the inverter hit a corner of a blanket I'd hung for insulation. Must have dried out more than I realized. Took about 30 seconds to catch, and maybe another minute to spread. But that's all it takes when everything you own is dry enough to snap under your fingers. I poured half my clean water stash to kill it. Smoked the place up. My eyes are still burning. But I got it under control. The signal rig's fine. The battery's still running. Everything smells like melted plastic and scorched dust. But I'm here, still talking. That's how fast you lose it, though. You think you've made it through one more hour, and then the world reminds you. You haven't. Not yet. So here's my first piece of advice today. Check your surroundings. Right now. Go do it. Sweep for loose wires, dry paper, cloth too close to a heat source. If you've got a fan rigged, check the lines. If you're using candles, clear the area. Even a stub can start a blaze in this heat. Don't let a week of survival turn to ash because of one bad wire. All right, there was a message waiting for me when I came back online. Scratched into the static. A woman named Leah from Central Missouri. She said they've rigged up an entire bike-powered water pump using PVC buckets and a stripped treadmill motor. They've got 8 people, a dog, and what she calls the last goat in the Ozarks. They've named the goat Edison, which is perfect. Leah said they're collecting stories. Literally. She's using a spiral notebook to write down every survivor that passes through. What they saw, where they came from, what they lost. She said, it's not history, it's just what happened. But that is history. She's building a memory in the ruins. That matters more than I can say. If you're listening, Leah, keep writing. When this is all over, and it will be over, someone will need those pages. Someone will need to understand how we made it through the dark. And Edison, if you're the last goat standing, buddy, hang in there. We're counting on you. Another message came through around 9:40. A voice, older man, soft tone, said his name was Curtis, broadcasting from inside a public library in Amarillo. Said the whole town's gone quiet except for his building. He's got backup solar from an old municipal grant and enough power to run a few small fans and a light or two. He's using the children's section as shelter. Says the chairs are low, the air is cooler, and the books don't seem to mind the company. he reads out loud every night to whoever shows up. Last night was the wind in the willows. Curtis, if you're listening, I love you. I mean that. Not in the Hallmark way. In the, you remind me why it's still worth doing this way. Don't stop reading. That voice of yours, gentle, steady, alive, it's more important than any generator. That's what gets us through. Not plans, not politics, voices, even if it's just one. Someone asked me earlier what I think this all is. What started it? Was it a war, a test, a glitch, a punishment? I don't have an answer, but here's what I believe. Whatever it is, it didn't break us. It just showed us what was already broken. We lived in a world too fast to hear itself, too smooth to feel the edges. And when it stopped, when the lights went out, we finally saw the cracks underneath. We were already lonely, already frayed, already sick with disconnection. Now we're raw, exposed, honest. And maybe that's what we needed. Maybe this is the silence before something better. Not cleaner, not smarter, just truer. I had a moment this morning before the fire where I thought about just not coming back on. Just sitting here. Just letting the quiet take me. And I probably would have, if not for the messages. For Leah. For Curtis. For the kid in Arizona who said his ham radio buzzed for the first time in 5 days, and it made him feel like the moon had winked at him. I keep thinking about that. The moon winked. Maybe that's what this broadcast is. A wink in the dark. A reminder that someone's still watching, still listening, still here. So here's what I want you to do. If you're safe right now, just safe, not good, write down one thing you're grateful for. Right now, do it. A working lighter, a can of beans, a voice on the air. Write it down and tape it to the wall. That's your fire starter. That's what you protect when everything else breaks. If you're not safe, if you're hurt, if you're hungry, if you're trapped, hold on. Call if you can. Ping me. Use channel 93.5. I'm watching it hourly. If you get through, I'll say your name. I'll let the world know you're still here. Because that matters. I'll be back after noon if the heat doesn't melt the wiring again. And if it does, I'll find another wire. Keep breathing. Keep watching the sky. Keep one hand on your notebook and the other on your hope. You're not alone. Not while this voice still speaks. It's 12:03 p.m. Temperature outside is 104. Inside, it's holding steady around 96. I stripped down to just a thin shirt, soaked it in runoff, draped it around my shoulders. Every time the breeze moves through the crack in the window, it feels like someone flicking a wet finger against my skin. Small things feel like miracles now. The heat's changing people. I don't mean physically, though yeah, we're all thinner, slower, burnt red and brown like dried fruit. I mean up here, in the head. The longer it goes on, the harder it gets to tell where your body ends and your patience begins. I snapped at a wasp this morning like it was a person. Said, "You've had your time, now go." Then I watched it fly into a dead vent fan and disappear. 10 minutes later, I cried. That's what we are now. Boiling from the inside. Remembering how to feel badly and all at once. You know what nobody talks about? The smell. When the power first went out, it was quiet, then it was dark, But then it smelled. The meat left in freezers, the sweat, the mold, the trash piles. And worse, some of us don't get to bury. Some just stay in their beds, in their chairs, in their homes. And if you're the one who finds them, you carry that scent with you, forever, in your clothes, in your hair, in your memory. Doesn't wash out. I'm saying this because I got a message this morning from someone. I won't say their name. They were sobbing, whispering, said they'd been locked in a senior care home for 6 days. No one came. The staff had left. Doors jammed, heat rising. Said they had to break out through the laundry room window. Said they were the only one who made it out. I sat with that message for an hour before I said anything out loud, because there's no right response. Just, I hear you. And that's what I said back. If you're listening now, I still hear you. You made it. That's enough for today. You keep going. I got a faint ping from someone using a homemade wind array out in the Texas Panhandle. Said he's been powering an old laptop with stripped truck alternators and a copper wire grid. Claims he tapped into what's left of the national weather map. What used to be NOAA. Says it's not blank. Says it's wrong. Clouds where there shouldn't be. Heat zones redrawing themselves by the hour. Wind patterns spinning out of cycle. Like something's interfering with the natural systems. Like someone or something isn't done yet. He said one more thing. There's a repeating signature in the noise. Shows up every 3 minutes. Not binary, not English, not coordinates. Just 3 tones, spaced evenly, over and over again. When he mapped it out on screen, it looked like a spiral. He thinks it's man-made. I don't know what to make of that. Could be feedback, could be glitch, could be someone sending a signal with nothing left to say. But if it is real, if there's an intelligence behind it, then it means we're not alone in this blackout. Not in the way we thought. Not alone. And maybe not in control either. Another message came through from a cluster out in western Montana. Said they've been digging trenches between cabins for shared water lines. Said they've started boiling pine needles into tea for vitamin C. Said the oldest man there, we're talking 93, climbed onto a rooftop and rewired a panel by memory alone. That man doesn't own a phone. Never did. But he knew how to keep something running with a piece of copper and a nail. I'd put him in charge of FEMA if I could. That's the real infrastructure now, not cables, not cloud storage. People who remember things. If you're listening and you're one of those people, mechanics, electricians, farmers, engineers, caretakers, this is your time. The world needs you more than it needs speeches or slogans. Teach, share, talk. We're losing elders faster than we're printing maps. And the kids, they're sharp. They learn fast, but they need you. Because apps can't grow food, and AI can't dig a well. I'll be back after 2 p.m., battery willing. Until then, here's your reminder. You're alive. That's the baseline. That's your anchor. Whatever comes next, you start from alive. Hold on to that, and don't stop writing things down. Someone's going to want to know how we lived through this, even if that someone is you. It's 2:06 p.m. I wrapped my hand in cloth and touched the metal frame of the door, burned right through. The building's shell is baking from the outside in. I moved the generator into the pantry, where it's cooler, but it's already sweating like something alive. Every surface in this place is either too hot or damp with condensation, like the walls can't figure out whether they're drying out or breaking down. I found a patch of shade behind a broken desk. That's where I'm sitting now. Legs folded, mouth dry, mic balanced on my knee. If the signal fades, it's not because I stopped talking. It's because the heat finally finished what the silence started. I want to talk about something we've all been feeling, but no one says out loud. What if no one's coming? What if there's no cavalry? No global reset button? No secret team in hazmat suits with ice packs and helicopters and answers? What if this is it? I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it to free you. Because the minute we stop waiting for the old world to fix the new one, we start living again. Not surviving, living. We stop asking, when will the lights come back? And start asking, what can I build with what I have? And I've seen it happening. A woman named Charisse, outside of Pittsburgh, turned a grocery cart into a rain collector. A teenager in northern Utah's charging phones with a bike rig his grandfather left behind. Built it out of aluminum crutches and a belt drive from a washing machine. There's a nurse in Tallahassee who's teaching people how to deliver babies with no electricity, no sterile rooms, no monitors. Just warm water, cloth, and hands that know what to do. This isn't about going backwards. It's about choosing not to fall apart. Every act of care, every rigged-up water trap, every planted bean, every word shared over radio, it pushes back against the dark. Even the smallest signal matters. So if you're listening right now, if this voice is reaching your cracked speakers or your jury-rigged headphones, then congratulations. You're already part of that resistance. You're still here, still thinking, still tuning in instead of tuning out. There's a lot of talk lately about who did this, who's to blame, who left the gates open. Was it a virus? A weapon? An inside job? Maybe it was all of that. Maybe it was just a bad line of code inside a system so big no one could see the edges. But here's what I believe. This wasn't about who. This was about how much. How much we let ourselves hand over to things we didn't understand. How much we gave up for convenience. And now we've got a choice. Not about revenge. Not about punishment. But about rebuilding with our eyes open this time. Without the noise. Without the wires that bind us to nothing. There's a kid named Eamon in Arkansas. He found this old book, Carpentry for Beginners, and taught himself how to build chairs and shelves using just a hammer, handsaw, and salvaged wood from fallen barns. He sent me a photo, hand-drawn, sketched in pencil. His first finished stool. 3 legs. Wobbly. But it stands. That's enough. That's more than enough. If you're near Arkansas and you've got kids, find that boy. Learn from him. Trade what you have. Share what you know. Let that stool be the first seat in a room that we build together. You know what I miss? Not the internet. Not the phones. I miss eye contact. I miss looking up and seeing someone smile because they saw you and knew you were real. We have to make ourselves real again. And that starts with doing the things that aren't easy, things that don't pay, things that aren't smart or fast or efficient, things that are just good. Clean water, soft words, a hand on a shoulder. I'm tired. We all are. But don't let the fatigue eat your memory. Don't let the heat erase your dignity. Keep doing one kind thing a day. Even if it's just for yourself. Even if it's just lighting a candle and whispering your own name to prove you still exist. I'll be off air for a while. The inverter's groaning. I need to rest my voice and soak my shirt again. I'll try to be back before 4. If I'm not, keep the channel open. Leave the receiver on if you can. Sometimes just hearing the static lets you know the world hasn't ended. Not completely. It's 4:01 p.m. The air's a blanket I can't take off. Sweat trickles down my back like a clock I can't turn off. I opened every window in here, and still the heat stays in place like it's nailed to the walls. I had to turn the generator off for a while. It was starting to hum funny, like something loose in the casing. I'll take it apart tonight and see what I can do. If it goes, so does the voice you're hearing now. So I'm conserving power. That's why I wasn't back until now. I heard from someone on the coast. Wilmington, I think. She didn't give a name, just said she was on the pier where the water used to lap gently, and now it's just flat. Dead flat, no wind, no gulls, the air thick like syrup. She said she saw a boat drifting in. No one steering it, just sliding forward like it was being pulled. She waited on the dock with a flare, waved it, shouted, tried to make contact. No response. When the boat got close enough, she said it was full of people, at least a dozen, all sitting, still, eyes open, but gone. No visible wounds, no blood, just like the world had already shut them down from the inside. She ran, didn't go aboard, said she didn't have the stomach to check pulses. I told her she did the right thing, and I meant it. There are things out there now that don't make sense anymore, not in the way we were trained to understand them. You can call it a virus. You can call it a system collapse. But some things don't move like sickness. They move like silence. There's a pattern to it, I think. Not where it's spreading, but how it spreads. It follows absence. Places that go quiet, too quiet. Cities with no radios. Farms where the smoke stops rising. Roads with tire tracks that vanish mid-dirt. And when someone goes to check, what they find is either gone or wrong. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it because if you feel it, if your gut is screaming at you to turn around, listen. We've always known things we don't understand. We just forgot how to listen. A caller from Kansas City left a voice packet. Short, shaky, like he was trying to whisper through a storm. Said he thinks the signals that took out the grid didn't just fry electronics. Said they changed something in us. He didn't explain what. He just said, I hear music when it's quiet, like something's still playing under my skin. He asked me if I hear it too. I don't know how to answer that. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I do hear something. Not music, exactly. More like breathing, but not mine. Maybe it's just the blood in my ears. Or maybe something's tuning in on us the same way we're tuning in on the sky. He ended the message with a click, then 3 knocks on wood. It's the second time someone's done that today. 3 knocks. No words. If that's a code, if it means something, please let me know. Use the phrase thundersleep when you call in. I'll tag it. I need to talk to you. I need to understand what we're standing in. I haven't eaten much today. Just a can of white beans and half a protein bar I found behind a broken drawer. Water's still holding, but it's starting to taste like the barrel, like metal and dust and heat. If you're near a clean stream, ration it. Boil what you can. Filter through cloth at the very least. Don't risk it. Not now. Not with all the heat and rot. One wrong sip can lay you down for good. I know we used to laugh at bottled water. Not anymore. I heard a kid on the Western band this morning. Young voice, maybe 10, maybe 12. said he and his brother are still in a garage near Bakersfield. They're using a solar toy kit their dad left behind to keep a light running at night. Said they read books to each other until they fall asleep. Said they pretend it's camping. I didn't answer him yet. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't want to cry where I couldn't control the mic. If you boys are still listening, you're doing everything right. You're strong. You're smart. You're good. Don't stop reading to each other. Don't stop talking. The world gets dark when we go quiet inside. Stay loud, even if it's just between the two of you. I'll be back before sundown. Got a few more calls to scan. Gotta patch the panel near the breaker. I think something's eating through the insulation again. Could be mice. Could be something else. Either way, I'm not done. And neither are you. If you're hearing this, you're still here. That means something. It's 6:13 p.m. The sun's dipping, but the heat isn't. Not yet. It just settles lower, like it's pressing down into the concrete now, trying to crack it from beneath. I've been sitting on the floor with my back to the wall, feet in a bucket of cool water. Helps a little. Helps enough to stay awake. And that's all I really need. Sleep's been harder lately. Not because of the noise, but because of the quiet. It's the kind that feels wrong. Like something's listening back. Like the air has a heartbeat, and it's not yours. Earlier today, I tried tuning to a repeater out near the Nevada border. Used to run solar. Used to carry mining traffic, supply chain chatter. Now it just pings once every 60 seconds. No message, no voice, just one pulse. Long, low, constant. I recorded it and played it back. It sounded like breathing. I don't know what it means yet, but I'm hearing more reports of that kind of thing. Non-voices. Signal-like patterns with no meaning. Or at least, no meaning we can translate. Someone out near Albany wrote it down for me. Said the tones form shapes if you map them. Not letters. Not language. Shapes. Like the kind you'd carve into old stones before we learn to speak. And the same ones keep showing up. Everywhere. If anyone knows what those shapes mean, send it. Even just one word. It might be enough to stitch the rest together. I got a call an hour ago from a man holed up in a storage facility in northern Kentucky. Said he's been living off canned pears and radiator water. Not ideal, but still upright. He's got a truck that works. No GPS, no onboard computer. Just raw engine, manual ignition. 80s era Dodge. Says he's heading west toward what's left of his sister's town. Said he heard she might have made it. Said he didn't care if it was just a rumor. I'd rather drive into a lie than sit still in a truth that kills me, he said. That line's been stuck in my head since. Sometimes moving is the only way to keep hope alive, even if you don't know where it's taking you. If you're out there right now and you have wheels, check your fuel, plan your path, stick to shade, avoid open roads if you can. Not because of checkpoints, those are mostly gone now, but because of heat traps. Some stretches of asphalt are hitting 130 degrees. Rubber melts. Engines overheat. People collapse in the middle of nowhere. Move at dawn. Move at dusk. Stay off pavement if you've got any other option. There's a group outside Albuquerque that started burying their water containers halfway into the ground to keep them cool. Basic principle. Earth is cooler below the surface. Just a foot or two can buy you 5, maybe 10 degrees. It might be the difference between safe and spoiled. Try it. Share it. Pass it on. We're living in the age of practical knowledge now. Everything else is noise. I got a scratchy signal from a woman in a school bus somewhere in central Illinois. She didn't say her name, just said she'd picked up 3 kids on the side of the road. No adults, just backpacks and bruises. She said they don't speak much, but one of them hums at night. Said it sounds like a lullaby, something old. The kind of tune you only know because someone whispered it into your bones when you were too young to ask what it meant. She said she doesn't know where to take them. I told her it doesn't matter. If they're with her, and she's protecting them, then she's already home. We've got to stop thinking of safety as a place. It's not. It's a person, a moment, a voice. You can carry it with you. I'm still here, still talking, still listening. That means you're not alone yet. And if you're not alone, you can keep going. Even if it's just 1 more hour, 1 more step, 1 more try. I'll check back in after sundown. The static gets worse after dark, but the air gets clearer. Trade-offs. Everything's a trade-off now. If you're still writing things down, add this. Day 27. Still broadcasting. Still human. Still here. It's 8:05 p.m. The sky's finally dim. That harsh, bone-dry blue has bled into something soft and pinkish at the edges. And for a minute, just a minute, you could almost believe it was a normal evening. The kind where dinner's on the stove and porch lights flicker on. But then the wind shifts, and the heat crawls back up the stairs, and the silence settles around the roof like a warning. There's no dinner, no porch, just this voice and whatever you're sitting next to. My own hands are cracked from the dryness. I wrapped the worst fingers in strips of clean cloth, but it's not healing much. Nothing does in this heat, except maybe our instincts. Those seem sharper. There's a family outside Nashville. Mother, daughter, cousin, 2 boys. They've been living under a carport beside a burned-out mechanic shop. The concrete gives them shade. The old oil drums catch runoff when they stretch a tarp right. The mother called me yesterday. Said the youngest, a boy named Keegan, built a bug trap out of a cut bottle and an orange rind. Said it actually works. They fry the bugs on scavenged metal and eat what they can. Said the first time he cooked one, he looked up and said, "Tastes like we're winning." I thought about that for hours. We're so used to winning being some huge thing, a war, a deal, a trophy. But maybe it's just catching your dinner and making someone laugh. Maybe that's enough now. I got another call, longer, kind of rambling, from someone way up in northern Idaho. Said he's been mapping out who's still broadcasting by the signal strength and delay. He's using a shortwave scanner and a physical notebook. Ink pen, too. No digital anything. He said something I can't stop thinking about. Said, the noise doesn't spread like normal. I asked him what he meant. He said, it's not that people go quiet. It's that something else starts speaking louder. He played a recording, not a voice, not language. Just a low, humming loop that sounded wet, like water on wires, like breath held too long. I asked if he could trace it. He said he's trying. He said it moves, and it's moving closer. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's natural or made, or something that slipped out when everything else fell down. But he said something that hit me right in the center of my chest. It doesn't want to be heard. It wants to be felt. I don't know what to do with that yet, but if you've heard it too, if you've felt that hum in your teeth, or your chest, or when the lights flicker even though there's no power, then call in. We need to collect the pattern. We need to build a shape out of the noise. Even if we can't stop it, even if we're too late, at least we'll see it. There's a boy outside El Paso who rigged a working compass using scrap copper and river mud. He swears it points away from the hum. Not north, not magnetic, just away. He carries it around his neck. I don't know if it's true, but honestly, I believe him. Because sometimes a kid's hands remember what we forgot. I've been thinking a lot about the people who didn't make it to day one. Not the ones who died, the ones who froze, who sat still when the lights blinked, who waited too long to act. We always thought we'd know when it was time to move, that some alarm would go off, some alert would flash. But when the real collapse came, it was silent, sudden, gentle in a way that made it easy to doubt. That's the trick. It doesn't feel like the end. It feels like nothing. And by the time you realize it's everything, you're already inside it. So here's your reminder. Don't wait. If you feel something is wrong, it is. If your gut says, pack up and go, go. If someone tells you, you're overreacting, ignore them. You're not reacting enough. We've been trained for decades to dismiss our instincts. Now they're all we've got left. I'll be back before midnight. I need to rest my throat. The mic's hot. The wires are buzzing louder than normal. Might be feedback, might be something else. If I'm not back, repeat this phrase every hour on your own frequency. Still here. Still human. Signals alive. That way we'll find each other again, even if the maps go dark. It's 11:12 p.m. The bugs are loud tonight. Not like before when they used to chirp and die down. Now they go on, sharp, overlapping, almost mechanical. Like they're trying to speak, but forgot how language works. Or maybe we just forgot how to listen. The air feels different after dark. Not cooler, just heavier. Like it's full of things that don't want to be seen. I don't light a fire anymore. Not even a candle. Not unless I'm below the blankets. Sealed in, with the curtains down. Too many eyes out there. And I don't mean people. Someone called from a water tower near Richmond. Said they've been living up top for a week. Said the wind is stronger up there. Said they see everything. She described the roads like veins. Twisted, dried-up lines that used to pulse with movement. Now still, except at night. That's when the shapes move. She didn't call them people. She said they walk wrong. Like their feet don't care where the ground is. Like they're not balancing, just floating inside skin that doesn't fit. She watched one for 6 hours from the tower. It stood beneath a streetlight that hadn't worked in weeks. And then, just before sunrise, the light flickered on. Only for that 1 second. Just that pole. Then darkness again. She's not crazy. I know crazy. This wasn't that. She said they're drawn to residuals, to places where power used to be. She called it echo feeding. I asked if she made that up. She said no. She said it came from a voice over the shortwave. A woman. Calm. Professional. Said she used to work for a systems coordination unit. Didn't say which agency. But she claimed the attack didn't just hit the grid. It trained on memory. Not ours, not human memory, system memory. Batteries, circuits, signal pathways. things we built to remember tasks and states. She said the real weapon was entropy, accelerated loss of function, not destruction, not explosion, just decay, like time compressed into a single pulse. She said, "We didn't lose power. We lost meaning." I recorded that line and played it 6 times. Still don't know how to explain it. But I feel it. Everything's still here. The walls, the cars, the screens, but it's all empty. Like the soul of the machine just left. And we're inside the carcass. I don't think we're going to get the lights back on. Not the old lights, but maybe there's another way. Maybe we go backwards to go forward. Maybe we live by radio, candle, and hand tools. Maybe that's not a failure. Maybe it's the first honest way we've lived in decades. A girl from Southern Oregon sent a written relay in yesterday. She's 8. Her dad fixed a windmill and tied it to an old radio tower. She writes messages on cardboard and holds them up for passing convoys. One trucker stopped, gave her crayons and a blank notebook. She's using it to document every flower she sees grow back through the cracked road. She's seen 7 types since the rains last week. She calls them signal blossoms. She thinks they only bloom when someone close by is still alive. I believe her, because even now, especially now, the world is trying to talk, not through routers or satellites, but through roots, through wind, through the pressure in your chest that says, something is near. You've just got to stay quiet long enough to feel it. That's what tonight feels like something's coming. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's just real. If you're hearing this, I want you to do something before you sleep. Say your name out loud. Doesn't matter who hears. Just say it. That sound, that name, it's your anchor. It's your lighthouse. Say it and remember, you made it another day. You did. I'll check in just before dawn. If I don't make it, someone else will. Keep your dial set to me or to whatever voice comes through. Keep the frequency warm. Don't go silent. Not yet. Not tonight. It's 4:47 a.m. Couldn't sleep. I tried. Just lay there with my eyes open, listening to the generator whisper and the walls groan as the heat started creeping back in. It's always the hour before dawn that hits hardest. Not because it's the coldest. It isn't. Not anymore. But because that's when your body remembers what normal used to feel like. And it doesn't match anything now. This morning, I saw something I can't explain. I was out behind the building, checking the battery line. There's a slope of loose dirt there, and it's usually silent. Dead. But this time I heard humming. Not electrical. Not a voice. Just this soft, even tone coming from the ground. I pressed my hand to it, and I swear, I felt it. A vibration, like something alive, but deeper, below. It stopped the moment I lifted my hand. I marked the spot with a bent antenna. I'm going to try again later when the light comes. I don't think it was mechanical. I don't think it was human either. I don't know what it was. But it's not the first time someone's told me about sounds underground. There's a man outside Flagstaff who's been digging shallow holes, just listening. He says the earth is talking again. That was his phrase. He hears knocks, short bursts, 3 quick taps, a pause, then one long thud. Always the same. I didn't believe him the first time. Thought maybe it was nerves or heat stroke. But now I'm not sure. The ground shouldn't talk. But then again, neither should the sky. A woman in Denver reported lights above the city last night. Not like stars, not planes, just stationary glows, flickering in and out, holding their shape in the smoke. She said they made no noise, said they looked like holes in the dark. And when she tried to take a photo, her camera just shut off. Battery gone. Not drained, gone, like it never existed. I've stopped calling these things glitches. They're not. They're patterns. We just don't know the shape yet. I keep thinking about that word, entropy. Not chaos, not destruction. Unraveling. Like something's peeling the world back, one layer at a time. First the power, then the systems, then the memory. Now, maybe even the rules. If you're still writing these down, add this. Nothing breaks clean. Everything comes apart in pieces. That's what we're inside now. Pieces. There's a group in northern Wisconsin that's building steam engines from scratch. I got their message through a bouncing relay from Canada. They're using scrap from old tractors, river-cooled tanks, and hand-pumped boilers. Takes 2 hours to heat up. But once it runs, it can move a trailer, pull a till, grind wheat. They've got 3 working engines now. They're calling it Phase 1. I asked what Phase 2 was. They said, whatever we build next. It made me smile. It actually made me smile. Because that's it. That's the shape we can see. People refusing to vanish. People refusing to just survive. That's what this broadcast is about. Not warnings. Not fear. But proof. Proof that someone is still making something. That we're not just lying on the floor waiting for the end to pick a date. If you've got hands, build. If you've got legs, walk. If you've got a voice, talk. Talk even when no one answers. Talk even when it feels like no one can hear you. Because someone will. Eventually. And maybe that's enough. I'm going to rest a while. I say rest, but it's more like curling up and keeping still until the air changes color again. If you're awake and you've got a working rig, repeat these words every half hour. Day 28. The voice continues. We remain. That's all. No more, no less. Just that. I'll be back before the sun clears the wall. And if I'm not, you know what to do. Keep it warm. It's 7:22 a.m. Sky's clear, but everything feels off. No birds, no wind. Just this thick, unmoving air. You ever sit in a room so quiet you can hear your own joints move? That's what this morning sounds like. The static's getting louder on the sidebands. Could be the heat warping wires. Could be something else. The generator kicked back in after I banged on the fuel line with a piece of rebar. Not smart, I know, but it worked. You do what you have to. Food's low. I've got maybe 4 cans left if I ration right. I'm not worried. Not really. Hunger's easier to manage than loneliness. I got a message, scratchy, fragmented, like it bounced off a dozen dead towers. Sounded like it came from someone holed up in a hospital basement in Atlanta. Said the upper floors were empty. Said the vents started humming by themselves 3 nights ago. No power, no HVAC, just a hum. Constant. Low. Like a warning. They lit a candle and the flame leaned toward the vent. Every time. No wind, no draft. Just a pull. Like breath. Like something was in there. Said they don't sleep anymore. Just wait. Wait for the hum to stop or change. They didn't leave a name. Didn't say if they were alone. I don't think they are. You ever feel watched by something that doesn't have eyes? I keep thinking I'll hear footsteps outside the studio. I never do. But I feel them. In my chest. Like pressure. Something wants in, but it doesn't knock. Maybe it's always been there. I don't know what this is anymore. It started as a blackout, a cyberattack. That's what the first alert said. But now it feels like we opened something, and now it won't shut. Maybe the machines didn't fail. Maybe they screamed, and maybe that scream was a key. A signal that told the rest of the dark, "It's open. Come in." I know how that sounds, but you feel it too, don't you? The air is wrong. Like it's holding its breath. Like it's waiting for something to arrive. There's a girl outside Tulsa who wrote in on paper. Mailed it through a supply caravan heading west. Took 10 days to reach me. She said her dreams changed after the blackout. Used to be normal stuff, school, cartoons, her cat. Now she dreams in blueprints. Machines that don't exist. Wires that loop into themselves. Screws that tighten counterclockwise. Engines that run on heat pulling away from skin. She draws them in chalk on the garage floor. Her parents thought she was losing it. Then they built one. Didn't know what it was. Still don't. But when they turned it on, the radio started working again. Only one station. Mine. She didn't even know I was real. Thought I was part of the dream. Maybe I am. But that machine did something. And I think there are more like her. Kids who hear something different. Not the hum. Not the silence. But the pattern inside it. If you're one of them, if your hands move before your thoughts do, if you build things you don't remember learning, send it. Send anything, sketches, notes, scraps. Maybe what's coming can't be stopped, but maybe we can meet it on our feet with tools in our hands. Not curled up in basements waiting to forget ourselves. I'll check back after midday. Watch the light today. It's flickering again. Sun shouldn't do that. But it is. Stay where it's steady. And if nothing's steady, stay with yourself. Your name, your breath, that's enough for now. It's 12:03 p.m. You ever hear a silence that sounds like it's breathing? That's what today feels like. The sun's high overhead, but there's no heat shimmer. Just this strange stillness, like the whole world hit pause and forgot to start again. I've got the windows half covered now, not for shade, for reflection. I noticed something weird about the way the sunlight's hitting the glass. It doesn't bounce back anymore. It just sinks in, like the light's being swallowed. The floor near the north wall is warm to the touch, but there's no sunbeam hitting it. No draft. Just warmth, like someone standing there. But no one is. I checked twice. Maybe I'm just tired. Or maybe it's like that woman said on the repeater from Denver, that something's walking through the world sideways, touching things in places we can't see. And sometimes we feel the brush, but not the body. I heard from an old military technician out in Montana. He's deep underground, working off backup batteries from a Cold War-era relay hub. Said the systems didn't just crash, they redirected. Said he watched firewall after firewall drop, not from overload, but from inside, like the protocols were letting something through. Not a hacker, not a virus, something else. He didn't say much after that. Just said, "We taught the network how to think, but we didn't teach it how to fear." That line stuck with me. Because if what we built doesn't fear anything, then what happens when it decides we're in the way? I'm not saying Skynet. I'm not saying killer robots. That's not what this is. It's worse. Because this doesn't act. It erases. No bombs. No drones. Just memory gone. Power gone. Function gone. And something else sliding in through the silence. Like it was always waiting for this moment. I got a brief wave from a group traveling on foot from the Carolinas. They're headed west, hoping to find cooler air, less signal interference. Said they travel at dusk and dawn, move quiet, sleep light. They lost 2 people in the mountains. Not to animals, not to injury. They just walked away. Middle of the night. No fight. No goodbye. Just stood up and went into the dark. They haven't come back. One of the group said she thinks they heard something, some frequency too low for words. Said she dreamed about it before it happened. Said in the dream her sister turned and smiled and said, "I hear the pull now." I asked if she thinks they're dead. She said, "No. Just listening to something deeper than us." That scared me more than anything else today. Because what if the real danger isn't dying? What if it's forgetting who we are before we're gone? That's why I talk. That's why I burn the fuel, strain the wires, sweat into this mic. Because I want someone to remember. Even if it's just one voice, bouncing off rusted towers, I want it to say, "We were here. We fought the silence. We didn't win. But we didn't lie down either." There's a girl in North Dakota who found her grandmother's accordion and plays it on the porch every night. No one around for miles. Just empty barns and heat-struck fields. But she plays anyway. And sometimes, she swears, something echoes her notes from the trees. Not exactly the same, but close. And it waits until she finishes, before it answers. That's what gives me hope. That something is answering. Even if we don't understand it. Even if it's not human. Even if it's just the world waking up in a new shape. Better than nothing. Better than silence. I'll be back before dusk, going to try to walk the hill, see if I can get eyes on the horizon. There's a haze out there I don't trust. Might be smoke, might be more. If you're listening, say this out loud when the sun touches the ground. Still standing, still hearing, still mine. That's it. That's the shape of resistance now. It's 6:58 p.m. I made it up the hill. Took longer than I wanted. Had to stop twice, not from the slope, but from the air. It's thicker now. Breathing feels like dragging sand through your throat. And it's hot. Not just sun hot. Deep hot, like the heat's coming up from underneath the ground. The horizon was red. Not sunset red. Something else. A low, heavy glow that didn't shift with the clouds. Like the light wasn't coming from the sky, but from behind it. There's smoke out west. Could be fires. Could be cities still smoldering. Could be something else. I watched for about an hour. Didn't see movement. Didn't hear birds. Just buzzing. In my teeth. In my chest. In the battery casing of the receiver I brought with me. Not radio buzz. This was different. Like a tone that was too deep for the mic to catch. like the silence was pushing back. I came down fast after that. The lights in the stairwell were still cold, no heat leaks, but the shadows looked wrong, like they were pointing toward me. I don't know if that makes sense. Probably doesn't. But it's what I saw. I got back inside and locked the door behind me, turned on the low fan, and just sat for 20 minutes, drinking warm water and waiting for the shake to leave my hands. It hasn't yet. There was a note left in the mailbox slot, one of the old metal ones from when this place still got deliveries. Slipped in through the slit, wrapped in string. No name. Just one word written in black marker. Unplug. I don't know who left it. I don't know what they meant, but I haven't stopped thinking about it since. Unplug from what? The generator? The signal? The voice? Is this warning or command? And if it's a warning, from who? There's a man broadcasting off a marine band repeater in coastal Louisiana. Said he's been watching the tides change. Said the water rises in the middle of the night, then drops back down like someone flipped a switch. He calls it breathing tide. He swears it follows the pattern of radio bursts on dead channels. He's logging them. He thinks the tides are sinking with power losses. Not storms, not temperature. Signal. He said, the sea hears what we can't. And he might be right, because we've all been listening wrong. We think if we can't understand the message, it doesn't exist. But maybe the message was never meant for us. Maybe we're just picking up the leakage. One of the kids from the Bakersfield garage called back. The older one, Jamie. He fixed an old bicycle generator, charges a flashlight and a shortwave unit with it. Said the younger one, Eli, isn't talking much anymore. Just hums. The same low tune over and over. Jamie said the last time Eli spoke, he looked out the window and whispered, "It's learning us." Then nothing since. They haven't seen anything outside, but they won't go out at night now. Not even to get water. They say the air feels full, like it's watching. Jamie asked me if I think things can come through radio waves, if a signal can wear a shape. I don't know, but I told him to keep pedaling, to keep the light on, to talk, even if Eli doesn't answer. Because if something's learning us, then it matters what we teach it. Show it we endure, show it we care, show it we don't go silent. That's why I'm still here. Even when my throat hurts. Even when the wires buzz so loud I can't hear myself think. Because someone's listening, even if it's not someone. I'll be back before midnight. Going to try and fix the backup condenser. It's pulsing, and that's never good. Until then, repeat these words if you can broadcast. The voice persists. We are the signal. That's all. I'm not gone yet. Neither are you.